Now, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are. I'm super honored today. I know I say it every time. I got a great guest, but this is my first professional superstar athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the one and only Jeff Allen, who played football at University of Illinois. He was drafted by the Chiefs. He went to Houston and then came back.
Sir.
Yes, sir, and got him a ring. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. You feel me?
I had to put a ring on it. Jeff, say hello to the people.
What's up, People Smoke? I appreciate you having me, man. It's an honor to be here, man.
Oh,
man.
The
invite. I'm happy I could join you, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Pleasure's all mine. I know some people that ain't did a third of the things that you did that's putting me off, man. And I'm glad I could throw this in their face. Like, man, I got a Super Bowl champ. So I'm going to say it real quick, man. I'm going to start asking questions. I met you because for those of y'all that see that 69 Thornton right there, that jersey, that's my cousin. And he played football. I see it clear as day. Y'all were both on the line at Illinois. So I want to start off and say, what got you into football before you got to college, and how old were you when you started playing?
Man, I started playing football at the age of 8. Honestly, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. The youngest of 3. I have 2 older sisters. My oldest sister's 14 years older than me, and I got another who's 7 years older than me. So I was pretty much like the only child, and I was the only boy. So, and I was around all women, so they were spoiling the hell out of me. My pops went to jail when I was younger, died shortly after getting out. So it was just basically me and my mother. And I was looking for something constructive to do with everything going on around me, all the things that was going on in the community. And I saw kids walking down the street with shoulder pads and helmets. And at the time, I just started getting into football. I was watching the Green Bay Packers play the Bears, and all he was talking about was Reggie White. So for some reason, being a Bears fan, I ended up becoming a Packers fan because I loved what Reggie White was doing. I loved all the shine he was getting, and him being a bigger guy. I knew I was going to be a big dude. So that was somebody that I admired growing up. So I snuck out, walked to the park by myself at the age of 8, and joined the football team. My mom was looking for me. My sister was looking for me. And they ended up finding me. But at the time, I wasn't even old enough. I think I was a year or 2 behind. You had to be a 5th grader to be on the team. I might have been in 3rd grade, going to 4th or something like that. But long story short, I wasn't old enough. They ended up letting me on because of my size, and it was history from there.
So you started off good?
Yeah, nah, man. Honestly, I didn't. I was a late bloomer. When I started playing football, I was a little fat, chubby kid. I just needed to do some active stuff. I was eating a lot of junk food, doing those things that you do as a kid. Not being active, being in the house. But once I started playing football, I started to lean out. I started to grow, started to get a little bit of muscle on me. And, I started to find love with it. Once I got to high school, that's when I really started to develop a little bit. Still wasn't highly sought out there, wasn't recruited very highly. Didn't get a scholarship. I went to Martin Luther King High School on the south side of Chicago. We call it the low end. I originally grew up on the east side, but I ended up going there because it was a college preparatory school, and they just transitioned to that. In the city of Chicago, you got different types of schools. You have vocational, where you're not really going to go to high. You're going to get a trade. You're not going to go to college. And then they were transitioning to college preparatory schools where you can get AP courses. You had to test to get in, all those types of things. My uncle was the football coach over there, and my uncle, who was my biggest mentor, actually played at the University of Miami back in the 80s. He was roommates with Russell Maryland, won the national championship.
Wow.
And one of the first people to introduce me to football from the TV side of things was him. Taught me how to study. But early on, it was just me having that interest on my own. When I got to high school, he was on my ass. He really started to get after me, making sure I was doing the right things, eating the right things, being humble. There was never a moment where I felt like I was good enough. One, personally, because of just the drive that I had and the expectations I put on myself, but especially from him because he knew what was ahead of me.
Okay, that's your path almost sounds like Hugh's. I can see why y'all cool because he had my uncle. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can see that. That's dope. I can see why you guys are friends. Okay, so we see how you got to high school. What made you go to the University of Illinois, and when did you become on their radar?
Man, what made me go was it was my only scholarship offer.
Wow.
And the only reason I got on their radar was because I had one of my high school coaches at the time. He was taking another kid down to the camp, and he was like, you should come. And at the time, man, I'm poor, man. I don't have very much money. I don't have any transportation. My mom, she's working. She don't have the time nor the means to give me 2 hours south down in Champaign, Illinois for a camp. But thankfully, he was, one of those angels in my life that gave me the opportunity and took me down with someone else. And I went to the one-day camp.
Wow.
And I honestly, I didn't have very good technique, but I had a lot of dog and fight in me, and they could see that. I wasn't in the best shape. They knew that, but they saw that I didn't give up. They saw the nasty in me. They saw me going out there and trying to compete and trying to whip ass. And the offensive line coach, he actually, years later, I found this out, but at the time, I didn't know this, but like, I ended up getting a scholarship because of my grit and because of my toughness, but he stood on the table for me. Some of the other coaches weren't really willing to give me that scholarship, but he's like, no, I'm gonna be responsible for this kid. Like he really got something to him, and I believe in him. So I'm willing to put my neck out there and basically my job on the line, get this kid a chance. So thanks, shout out to Eric Wolford. He was only there for 1 year while I was there, but he was one of the main reasons I got a scholarship to Illinois because he believed in me. So I'm very thankful for him. Another one of those dudes that you cross paths with. It's a little bit of hard work, luck, and blessings, all of it, in right time, right place, right time.
Man, hey, I rooted for you because my cousin was like, this is my dog. Y'all was I don't remember if y'all was next to each other, but y'all was real close when y'all.
Yeah, no, man, we played next to each other.
Okay.
He was the left guard, I was the left tackle.
Okay.
Roommates that time.
71 to 72.
Yeah, definitely. And we related a lot because we had a similar upbringing. A lot of things we had to persevere through.
Yeah.
And that's just the mental makeup. I mean, that's one of those things where when you talk about a professional athlete, especially football, a lot of us come from humble beginnings.
Absolutely. And I know his story.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to him in a while, but I definitely, I promise you, not only do I want to get him on, but I want to get my uncle on as well at a different time. You know what I mean? Because they both got some heck of a stories. So I'm gonna ask you this: did you have, when you were getting drafted, like when you did? Okay, hold on. How was your combine, and how did you feel about that?
Man, that was one of those times in life where I was nervous as hell. It's one of those things where your entire life, I mean, ever since I started playing football, the goal was to go to the National Football League. I mean, not only because I loved it, but it was a way out. It was a way to change my family's life. And it was just one of those things where I need to get this. So when I got there, when I got to the combine, I didn't know really, you prep, but you don't really know what to expect until you're experiencing it. And just all the grueling things you go through, the medical, the psych evals, the testing, the weightlifting, and then you got to go and do field work. It's a lot crammed into, a 3-4 day period. And they're testing you. They're testing your will. They're testing everything, man.
Yeah.
So your physical traits, you're getting interviewed, from sun up to sundown, constant evaluation. It's one of those things that I'm fortunate that I was able to go through it, but I'm happy I don't got to do that again.
Okay, so, okay, bam. So you did your testing. They got you under the microscope. I know this because I studied all of that because my son was playing football and I was praying that he got there. So I know it ain't no easy thing. A lot of dope athletes can't take all that pressure. So once you tested and they're, the draft day is coming up, what were you thinking? Like, were you like, okay, I'm gonna make it, or like, did you think?
Yeah. At that point, I knew I was gonna get drafted. I was a high draft pick, so I had all the pre-draft visits with the teams, and I spoke to a lot of different organizations. And at those moments, they pretty much tell you where they see you, and they tell you they're gonna draft you. I mean, I remember sitting down with Jerry Jones, and they said that if you're available in the second round at our pick, we're probably gonna pick you.
When'd you get picked?
I got picked in the second round, 44th pick. The Cowboys had the very first pick in the second round, but they ended up trading up in the first round. So they traded that pick to, move up higher in the first round. They drafted a corner out of LSU. I think it was Mo Claiborne. So when that happened, I was like, all right, I'm not going to the Cowboys because, they traded their second round pick, and God willing, I ended up going either late first or early second, and I did. So I was thankful to be around my family, my fiance, who's my wife now, all my close friends, and experience that moment.
That's dope. So, okay, Kansas City, not too far away from the Chi.
Not too far. A quick drive. I mean, it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Not too terrible, Midwest. So I was used to the weather, the climate. The only thing that I wasn't used to was it being such a small town. And when I got drafted, I laughed because I was like, damn, when my phone rang, Miami was on the clock. So I thought I was getting drafted by the Dolphins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm thinking South Beach. I'm like, man, good weather, no taxes. It's the Dolphins. And then it was a running back coach at the time. He's like, yeah, this is Kansas City Chiefs. We're gonna pick you with the 44th pick if you're still available. I think it was like at pick 34.
Okay.
So I was like, oh man, I thought it was the Dolphins. So I'm like, what the hell is in Kansas City? And I'm thinking like Wizard of Oz, Yellow Brick Roads. I'm thinking it's just a small country town, nothing going on. Fast forward to getting there, man, I couldn't have gone to a better place. It's one of those places that it's not too small, it's not too big. It's the perfect place to go and focus and be a professional athlete. It's really a hidden gem. And I'm thankful I ended up landing there.
Okay, who was the quarterback when you first got there?
When I first got there, the quarterback was Matt Castle.
Okay, veteran.
Veteran. Head coach was Romeo Crunell. It was a rough rookie year, man. That shit sucked, to be honest with you. We went.
What sucked about it? What sucked about it?
Man, we went 2-14, man. We didn't win very many games, and when I got to the NFL, man, they labeled me as a guard, as a tweener. So I had never really played. I didn't play guard in college. I was the left tackle. That's what I played my entire career. So I get to the league and they moved me immediately inside. So it was an adjustment for me. I didn't play very well my rookie year. I was adjusting, figuring out the game, speed of the game, the physicality, all at a new position. And the difference between guard and center is guard is way more physical. Things happen way faster. And there's very little room for error. The tackle, you could be a little bit more finesse. There's a lot more space between you and the quarterback. So you can run guys by. You can play a chess game. And you can do that a little bit at guard, but it's really smash mouth, big strongman competition in there. So that was a big difference for me. So when I got to the league, I was playing like a tackle at guard instead of like a guard. And you're giving up a little bit, pushing the inside of the pocket. Pressure, that's not good in the interior of the pocket, and it's not giving the quarterback ability to step up. So for me, I had to make an adjustment toward the tail end of the season. I started to get better, but early on, I got thrown in the fire. I was expected to start early, high pick, so they had no choice. So I didn't really have any time to develop before I got in there. I was developing on the fly, but it made me who I am, man. It was one of those things where I knew going into that off season, going into my second year, I had to get a lot better. And I focused on the things I need to get better at in the off season.
How was Coach Romeo? That's the brother, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Romeo Crunell is dope. Definitely a good dude. He come from the cloth of the Patriot cloth. The Bill Parcells, then from the Giants way back in the day. Then he went on to the Belichick, to the New England way. Same with the GM. They all were New England guys, and that's a different type of way. I don't know if you've heard about that, but
listen.
I mean, it works. It works in New England. I could say that, but I guess it worked in New England when they had Tom Brady. But that's a different type of way. They do things differently. It's not. It's just a different type of organization. Who to say what's right and what's wrong? But they run a tight. They run a tight ship, and they run things the way they run it, and it's very much. This is our way or the highway, and that's it.
That's what Chad said. That's what Chad said. Yeah. I am athlete. Everybody says that about them.
Yeah. So that was a big adjustment for me because I came from Ron Zook. Ron's a player's coach, and he lets your personality show. He lets you have fun. And then I get to Kansas City, and they doing things in the New England way. Telling you what to wear and how to say things to the media. And I'm like, is this the NFL? That's what I'm thinking. So I was adjusting to that, along with adjusting to playing a new position and losing and, feeling the pressure of that and seeing banners, seeing airplanes fly across the stadium with banners saying, fire the GM, fire the head coach, get rid of the quarterback. I'm talking like it was a very tough time because I came into a situation with Romeo the year before. He was the interim head coach, and then they gave him the rings to be the head coach. But everybody knew that this was going to be a transition year, so they were already looking to fire everybody and start over. I just happened to be in the mix in the middle of all that. But they end up getting rid of everybody. They cleared house after that rookie year of mine. And they brought in Andy Reid, which is awesome.
Andy has always been dope. So let me I want to fast forward because I woke up one day and I root for Kansas City when you were there, just not against the Colts. You know what I mean? Well, yeah. I've been a Colts fan since Marshall Faulk was there. And then Peyton went there, because Peyton went to college with a dude that was from Sacramento for a minute, then he got in trouble, and that's how I got on Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning's always been my favorite quarterback.
That's dope.
Yeah. So Hugh getting there was just like a bonus to me. So I've always been a Colts fan, from like 20 till now. And since I live in Danville, which is in between Champaign and Indianapolis, I'm going to games this year. I'm going to go see them play against the Chiefs.
Let's go.
Then I'm going to go see them play against Pittsburgh. So fast forward, and I wake up one day, and you are in Houston, Texas. How that happened? But then I just saw that you won a ring with what you call it. So what happened?
You saying what happened between? So I was a Chiefs, and then I went to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I was with Kansas City, and I went to Houston. Man, that was one of those situations where I couldn't stay healthy, man. My first year, I played well. Actually, I played really good. But I ended up getting a high ankle sprain and had to get surgery in the off season. And then the following year, same thing, host of injuries, man. And your best ability is your availability. So that I'm dealing with all of that, not being available. And then I had a few concussions. And at that time, it just was like, man, I was really contemplating retiring.
Okay.
I'm like, I can't stay healthy. I'm dealing with these concussions, which the long-term effects of that.
Yes, sir.
And I'm thinking about my future. I had 2 kids. I'm thinking about life after football at that point.
Sure.
But I ended up going down to Pittsburgh and seeing a concussion specialist named Mickey Collins. It took me my last concussion in Houston took me about 8 months to recover.
Damn.
About 8 months. I really was on the fence about it, but he assured me that, the things that I was dealing with, that I healed from it, and that it was safe for me to continue to play. So at that point, everybody knew I was back on the market. I had a bunch of teams, that were interested. I had probably about 11 teams that reached out. Most of them were bullshit offers. And then I had a couple that were some serious starter money. And they wanted me to come start, and they were offering decent deals. But at that point, I was like, I want to win. Because we weren't really winning. We went to the playoffs in Houston. We weren't really winning. And then once again, it was like the New England way there, because of Bill O'Brien, all of that. So I'm not going to a situation like that. I know what I had in Kansas City. And the second they called, I was like, yeah, this is the perfect match. I already know what y'all got there. We were close before, but I've been hearing things about this quarterback y'all got named Patrick Mahomes. So I was like, man, they was like, it's not going to be starter money or anything like that. We actually want to bring you in as a backup. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, man, it don't even matter, man. I want to win. Whatever y'all need me, that's what I'm going to do. So I came in. I ended up actually starting. But they tell you that just so they could pay you less. But it just was a great opportunity, man. I went in there, got to play on a really good football team, get back in the environment where I was comfortable, and just have some fun. And then I won a Super Bowl. So you can't ask for much better.
No, that's dope. And the cold part is, y'all beat the Niners, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Me being a Sacramento dude, I was in a bar full of nothing but San Francisco 49ers fans, okay?
Yeah.
And Eric Armstead is a Sacramento fella. I know some people that know him. I always root for people that I know. But Niners fans in Sacramento in Northern California are so disrespectful that you will want to root for the other team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you've never been on the screen, and I'm not pulling for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely wanted to see you guys take it. And boy, I acted a good fool. I acted an old-fashioned a-hole that day.
Hey, man, I'm glad you made it out, man. Come on, man.
Hey, oh, well, I was in my neighborhood and in my city, so I was
Oh,
safe.
you good. You
I was
good.
super safe. But it was a lot of hurt feelings in there. And I had forgot that you actually won a ring until a few days ago. I saw you post it. And I
Oh
was,
yeah, man. I haven't been active, man. You know, I've been living life, to be honest with you, man. It's been a joy to be home. And to be honestly, I'm happy to be done playing football, man. I enjoyed my time. I loved it. I still love it to death. But it was just time for me to be done, man. Like I did everything I wanted to do. There was nothing more for me to do. So it's just time for me to focus on my health, you know, be here with my family, you know, build my legacy on the other side of the game. So I'm just so happy to transition and have something, you know, we talk about the business later, but just to have something to transition to and focus on and put my time in.
I'm with you. Hey, so look, no time like right now to talk about the transition. So what brought you to so what did you think, like, so okay, man, you playing football, you know, everybody should realize that it's not going to be forever, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? So
Yeah.
when did you start thinking about what you were going to do life after football? Like when, because I know what you're doing and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
When did
Man,
you come up with it?
my entire life, man, I've been a hustler, man. So I knew I was going to be some type of entrepreneur. I knew I was going to be doing something, working for myself, creating some type of service or product, some type of business. I knew I was going to be doing something along those lines. In 2017, this is before I retired, my wife and I, we went up to New York City, and we're foodies. So when we travel, we like to eat. We go to places, we look at reviews, we take recommendations. And my wife caught wind of this place called Levain Bakery, which is in New York, and it's right by Central Park. And we went out and we stood in line for like 40 minutes. And I'm like, what the hell are we standing in line for? It's a bakery. It's a bakery. Like, why are we standing in line? But we ended up getting to the front, and to make matters worse, which I thought were worse at the time, it was just cookies up there. They had like 4 cookies and then a pastry. And I was like, we waited in line for this. So I'm like hot at this point. I'm like, man. And when we get the cookies, stand on the corner, I'm immediately like, let me taste this. And I was blown away. Like, it was fucking unbelievable. Like, I was like, yeah, this is it. I was like, I'll wait in line again. Like, I should have got more. Actually, I should have got more. That's how I felt. But I turned to my wife. My wife, she went to Illinois with me. Hugh plays soccer. She's competitive. She's a college athlete. And I knew once I said this to her, she was going to go home and try it. I was like, you can't make nothing like this. Just jokingly, just knowing her that she was going to go home and try. And she went home and she tried to make it like them, but she couldn't figure it out. And she like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own cookie. So she started developing her own recipe. Brought me a chocolate chip cookie one day. I was like, man, this is crazy, unbelievable. And then what really made me like start thinking about turning it into a business was when she brought me a banana pudding cookie. I never, at the time,
What?
there was no recipes on the internet. There was nobody doing banana pudding cookies. She legit was the first person I ever heard making banana pudding cookies. So yeah, and it tasted just like banana pudding. So I started taking them to the locker room, giving them out, and everybody was blown away. So she started making other recipes, and then it was around holiday season. She made these brown butter maple pecan cookies, and I took them to the locker room again.
I'm a diabetic. I can't wait to get some of these. Go ahead.
I took him to the locker room, and my teammates were blown away again. One actually asked, could he order some? But at the time, it wasn't really a business. But I was like, look, you should just sell them to her. And she's like, no, I'm not really I like doing this, but I don't really want to turn it into a business. I'm like, that's the best business. You doing something you love, turn it into a business. Plus, it's the best cookies I've ever had. I really mean it. I'm not just saying it because it's my wife. But fast forward from 2017 to 2018, that's when we let's form this LLC and start getting going on the business name, the strategy. Let's formulate a plan so we can really scale this thing and do what we want to do.
Okay, I got a couple questions because I'm a fat boy and I'm definitely a foodie. So I was wondering, are y'all, like, I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse. Are y'all coming to Illinois? And if not, can I order the cookies? Like, do y'all do that?
All right, I'll answer the second question. So you can order. So when we started our business, we were strictly e-commerce online. Okay. So we were only shipping. We still do this to this day. We ship nationwide, all across all 50 states. 2-day shipping, ground shipping, whatever option you pick. and they still show up fresh. So once we were getting great reviews on people telling us it was the best cookie they ever had, and it was shipped to them and they were getting it 3-4 days later, we knew like, all right, once we go into retail, like there's nobody that's going to be touching us, because we got people telling us the best cookie they ever had 4 days later. What's it going to be like when they get it the same day?
Wow.
So once we did that, we did the e-commerce deal. We started doing, we were in the kitchen doing all of this at home. Then we went from our house and we started renting commercial kitchen space. It was a shared space where you can rent it by the hour, shared ovens with other people. We started doing farmers markets, pop-ups. This is all while I'm still playing, by the way. Like this was over a 2-year process while I was in Kansas City during the off season, bye weeks. Like we were building this business on the back end.
Were you putting your name attached to it, like, or did you just have it? The cookies.
In the beginning, no, our names weren't attached to it. We were perfecting the process. One of the worst things you can do in business is get too big too fast. Okay. All right, so if I would have threw my name in there and say, hey, NFL player cookie company, we ready, we big time, and we weren't, we wouldn't been able to deliver, and it made us look terrible. So I was like, let's build the back end of it. Let's build the process. Let's make sure this thing is smooth before we really started putting press and marketing behind it. So that's what we were doing. We were perfecting the process. There was a lot of family and friends in the beginning. The local pop-ups, we could control that because it was 1 day a week. Same with the farmers markets. It was things that we could handle at the time. And then once we really felt like we perfected that and we had the business to the point, we weren't perfect, but we had the business to the point where we felt like we can go into brick and mortar retail. That's when we made that leap in 2020. So that was a 2-year process before we ever really, took that big leap and threw some money behind it and going into retail. And that's why I tell people, don't put the cart before the horse. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Go at your own pace. Don't look at your competitors. Don't look at your competition. Don't think you should be somewhere because you see this person there or they portraying to be there. This shit is not easy. It's not. It's really a grueling process. But if you have a passion, if you got the drive, the work ethic, you can get anything done. But fast forward to my last year in Kansas City, I knew we were opening a store in 2020. 2019 was my last season. 2020 was the Super Bowl. But I knew we were opening the store in the spring of 2020. So that whole season, I was kind of hinting at the fact that I had a cookie company. Okay. And the media thought I was joking about it. I'm like, no, I sell cookies. Like, and this is what we do. Like, and then like, what did you do this off season? I was back home selling cookies with my wife. And they started to take interest in that. And the fans started to take interest in my life outside of football. So they started to think of me more than just a football player. They thought of me as a cookie guy. Okay. as the cookie guy and doing something dope with my wife, man. So I use that to my advantage. I use my resources. I use my connections within the league, and that opened some doors for us. So once we got into the brick and mortar, and after the Super Bowl, fast forward to April 2020, we didn't even open our doors. It was the pandemic. It was the height of the pandemic. Our actual first day that we've officially opened, it was the first day in Texas where they announced the stay-at-home order. So we didn't know what to expect. We were scared as hell. We didn't think anybody would show up. We didn't know how long, this thing would last, because we're hearing all reports of businesses being shut down and people not making it. So we were like, how are we going to make it throughout this? So we started to do ramped up our online shipping, curbside pickup, because our doors weren't open. So we had a strict pre-order system. Couldn't come in our store. Couldn't see our beautiful store that we spent a bunch of money that we built out. You couldn't see our display. We literally had you order online, text to order, and we brought it to your car. And that's how we were in business for about 3 months. And then once we figured out a little more about COVID, people were able to come in with masks and social distance, and we did it in a safe manner. But man, it was tough in the beginning because we had to figure some things out that we didn't expect, like everybody else in the country. So we're thankful for the community that we were in. We're thankful for the team that we had at the time, and all those people that rallied behind us to help us stay in business.
Do you be at the actual store now, or like?
Nah, so in the beginning, we were there day to day. Like I said, we're doing the pop-ups, the farmers markets. I was baking cookies, mixing cookies, packaging, running back and forth for the post office, the FedEx, getting supplies, getting ingredients. That was my day to day for about up until probably about a year ago. I was in there, when we first opened our brick and mortar store, my wife and I, we work, 14, 16-hour days. 14, 16-hour days. Those are the things that people don't see. What it takes to really run a successful business, the sacrifice it takes, because we were learning the process as we were going. Like I said, we thought we were ready, but there were some things that we had to perfect and things that we still had to figure out when we got into retail. We were operating from very limited hours, from 11 to 4 when we first started business. But on the back end of things, we were in the building until about 1 a.m. So we'd close the doors at 4, and then we'd be in there until about 1 o'clock still mixing and making enough cookies for the next day.
I understand.
Because there's a lot of people showing up, people that, really want to support us. We got a huge feature in the Dallas Morning News, which is the major publication here, basically saying that this is a new business opening in the middle of the pandemic. Support these guys. So the entire metroplex of Dallas, all the surrounding areas, people were coming daily just to support us. So we got a huge rush in traffic, which kind of made us have to, change our operation. So we had to invest in bigger equipment, had to change our mixers out, get more refrigeration. There's a ton of stuff on the back end that we had to fix while we were actually doing it. But we're at a point now where we got it.
You were paying for all this yourself, or did you have
No, it's self-financed. We started a cookie business, so it's tough to go to a bank without any history in business or anything like that, or any background, and say, hey, I'm starting a cookie company, and for them to believe in you and give you the funds. So I'm thankful and blessed that, I was in a position where I had some capital to invest in the business.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm happy to see somebody that I know make it. First of all, I didn't know that you was from the South Side of Chicago.
Yeah, man.
Or matter of fact, I should say I don't remember.
I'm from the East Side. What's we call it, the East Side, but it's South Side geographically. If you're not from the city, if I tell you East Side, there's no East Side of Chicago. There's the East Side. That's what we call our hood where I grew up.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what culture was over there? What way did they have their hats? I'm in Illinois now, so it's different from Cali. We ran.
You talking about gangs?
Yeah. What was around y'all?
It was Blackstones, red and black.
Okay, the Moes.
Yeah, the Moes. Yeah. So I grew up over there. I don't know if you're familiar with like the hip hop scene. Now I grew up in the same neighborhood as G Herbo.
Okay. I work with a gang of Moes.
Yeah, so I grew up over east over there. That whole No Limit stuff he talking about. I remember when they started all that, man. So I'm a little older than him, so I was around during that time.
Wow.
But yeah, I grew up in the trenches, if you want to call it that. It was one of those things where, you gotta know how to move around. I was thankful to have
Chicago is real, brother.
Yeah, I was thankful to have some good people around me, man. The neighborhood really protected me. They knew I was on the right path, doing the right things. So anytime I ever thought about doing anything wrong, they was checking me, man. So shout out to all those people that protected me, man, that made sure that I wasn't going down the wrong path, that knew, ultimately what the results were when you did those things.
Do you go back to the city?
Yeah, I go back from time to time. I definitely make sure that I'm investing in the community, making sure I'm giving back.
Any football camps or anything like that? Or you done?
I haven't had a camp in a while, man, to be honest with you. But yeah, I got a lot of people back home still. I got a lot of people that's still like on the ground there, that's in the community, that anytime something going on, and hit me up, man. I got you.
That's a blessing.
I'm making sure that my name might not even be on it, man. I'm not the one that be political or publicize it. I do a lot behind the scenes that people maybe not even know about.
That's what's up, man. So the kids, I remember when you was having the first baby. Do you got 2 boys or you got a boy and a girl?
I got a boy and a girl. So my oldest is 7, it's a girl, and I got a 5-year-old boy. Yeah, they definitely keeping me busy right now. I got gray hairs now.
I see you, boy. You way younger than me too.
Yeah, I got gray hairs, all that, man. They keep you busy, but it's the same thing. Same thing that keep you busy also keep you young, man. They motivate me. They're my reason why, I get up every day and work my ass off, and that I'm trying to set an example to show them that, like, you can do anything. I'm glad that we're building this business right now, and it's going to leave a legacy because, you can't leave football to your kids. I mean, they could tell story, they could tell stories, they could say how great I was. I might be able to leave them a little bit of money, but I can't leave that to them. I can't pass that down, but I can pass the business down. I can pass down. They can see us day to day, the operation that we're running. I can give them that knowledge on how to be, how to be an owner, ownership, equity, all of those things that's important in our community that we need to get hip to. I'm just sick of seeing us not own things. That needs to be the new wave. Like, we need to have ownership.
Man, hey, you definitely gonna make it a cool thing with you being a person that's really from a neighborhood and a place with so much pride. One thing I would say about Chicago reminds me of a New York, the Bay Area, things like that. Y'all take pride. I know people.
Oh yeah.
Y'all got some pride about yourself.
I love where I'm from, man. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world, man. Like I said, I saw a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have seen. There's a lot of things that, I wish were better when I was growing up, but man, I wouldn't change it for the world, man. It gave me the perspective that I needed. It gave me that toughness and grit
to make it.
It really made me humble, man, because even though, I got a tough side, but I also got that side where I understand, because I know what it's like, man. Like, I know what it's like when times are tough, when the situation isn't going the way that you want it to, when you're doing everything in the world to make it right. Sometimes the cards don't fall the way they should. So I understand that, man. Like, some people can't fathom or see, some people just got really bad luck, man. Like, shit just don't be working out, man. So I see that. I saw that with my mom. My mom worked 3 jobs. Ain't nowhere in the world you work 3 jobs and still got to decide between the lights and the gas.
Goodness
like,
gracious.
Come on, man, it ain't about, like, hard work matters. Like, you definitely have to work hard. But some of the hardest working people in the world that I know don't got it.
Is your mom still alive?
Yeah, my mom's still alive. My mom live in Texas with me, about 10 minutes from me, man. I moved her down here, my sister. I got my nieces and nephews. Yeah, we here, man. Like, I'm trying to create a legacy, man, and do it the right way.
I think you are.
And do it the right way, man. Yeah. If I could tell dudes is like, figure out something, a good or a service or some type of business that you can create so you can make sure your family's straight, and not just give it to them. I'm talking about, like, they're gonna help you build with your family if you can. And if somebody got some type of skill or something, try to build with them and try to, put them in position. Because at the end of the day, if they can feed themselves, then the well won't run dry. A lot of times we get in our position and we just give, and there's nothing coming in. And then when it's all gone, nobody can feed themselves. So create something where everybody can eat and it's good for the long term.
Couple more questions before we get out of here. What you was just saying lets me know that you are a highly intelligent brother. I wanted this question just popped in. When you were going to college, what were you studying?
When I first got there, I was actually in business. I was in finance when I first got to college, but that didn't last. That didn't last. I ended up. Hey Jay, give me a second, all right, bud. Give me 1 second. That's my son at the door.
I hear you.
But I got there and between college football and then in the #1 public business school in America, it's tough, man. There was a lot of things that I couldn't keep up with because it was the demands of it. Like, I'm falling asleep in class, my GPA not where it should be. So I ended up switching my major to kinesiology and communication. But I still had that interest in business. I knew that I was going to do something. I knew the world revolves around money, economics. That's when anything, man. Financial freedom is the only hope. Hope said that. So make sure you educate yourself financially. Even if you do, it don't matter what you're making, man. You gotta know how to manage it.
That's dope. So watch this. Before we get up out of here, I want to say, if you could have gave I asked a lot of people, like, what advice would you give your younger self? But I kind of feel like you've been walking yourself through, I think you've been doing everything. I don't want to say
Yeah,
perfect.
no, man,
I
no,
think you was
hell no, I'm not perfect, man. If I could
not really
tell my,
working out for you. That's what I'm trying to say.
if I could tell myself something, my younger self something, man, it would be believe in mental health, like believe in balance, believe in like taking care of yourself and don't ignore it. Yeah, that's real, man. Because like I said, there was a lot of stuff that I dealt with when I was younger that I wish wasn't that way, that I should have addressed it immediately, that catches up to you when you get older. Um, so definitely focus on that. Make sure you've been the best version of yourself and just remain humble, man. Like I never lost that. Like I will always be humble because I know where I'm from and I know how hard I work to get to where I am. And I will never take it for granted.
I'm gonna ask you one question before I give you your flowers and let you get to your son. Do you you speaking on mental health? Do you see a counselor or have you is that something you got?
Yeah, hell yeah. Like yes, 100%. I mean, between childhood, between banging my damn head, playing football, like that's real. I mean, CTE is definitely real. I don't know if I have it, but there's definitely things that I know I have effects from football.
Okay.
But I'm thankful I'm aware of it.
For sure.
I think guys need to be aware of what they're dealing with and address it, whether that be with spiritual healing, whether that be with talking to a therapist, whatever that might be. But you definitely have to, you got to treat yourself. You got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. It's just like anything else in life. I mean,
Okay.
you can't see when someone is dealing with something mentally, but you personally, you know, I mean, you can't sit in the mirror and lie to yourself. You know, when you don't feel right or something's going on, you got to check it. It's like the check engine light turns on.
Hey, look, man, your time is definitely valuable. I don't want to take up too much more, so I want to tell you a few things before we dip out of here. Man, I'm very proud of you. I just
Appreciate it.
man to man, it's one thing that us as men, not black men, but just as us men need to tell other people that, hey, I saw something in you that sparked something in me, or I learned something from you, or you know what I mean? Like women to see another lady at the club, be like, oh girl, you bad.
Compliment.
We need to tell each other stuff like this. So man, I'm a little bit older than you, but I'm definitely super duper proud of the man that you have become. And us having,
Appreciate you.
man, I appreciate you for being a role model, not to just people younger than you, but I'm a grown up, so I need to act like one. And a lot of stuff that you said was very educational, but also the fact that you don't wear your scars. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like most people wouldn't know some of the things that you told us if it didn't come out your mouth or they didn't know somebody who knew you.
I'll put it this way, man. Like I'm really, people glorify that, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm really from that place where, you know, they rap about or you see on TV and people wear the stripes. I'm not shying away from it saying that, you know, it didn't make me who I am. But what I'm saying is you don't glorify that, man. I have family that's still in the street. I have family, my pops was in the street. Like that ain't people that's really in the street don't want to be there. So all these athletes, all these rappers that have made it out that's in position, like don't get tricked out of your spot, man. Like it's not like the people that's back there, they don't want that for you. They don't want you to be glorifying that because they don't want to be there.
Man.
And that's the God's honest truth, man. So I mean, I'm happy where I'm from. I'm aware it on my chest, like you said, I'm proud of Chicago, but I'm also not gonna glorify that tough side of it to where motherfuckers don't got choices, man.
Well, we don't want that for our kids.
Yeah, we don't want that for people don't got choices. So
yeah,
why you know, glorify and make that the example for the youth or somebody that's younger than you, the people that's doing that, like most of them really don't got the option, man. And the people that's out here playing, you know, playing in the street and no piece supposed to be in there, they learn real fast. It's about, and I'll leave you with this, man. It's the wave I'm really on, man. It's about, I call it compound impact. That's what anything in life, it's like compound interest. You get your money, you put it, you invest it, it stack up, and over time, you look up, you rich as hell. Compound impact is the same thing, but with people, man. With people, whether it be you spending your time, whether you be giving encouragement, a wise word, giving back to your community, taking the time to make sure you reach back or you reach one and you teach one, man, because that person then in turn is going to do it for someone behind them, and it's going to spark something, man. Like really, really think about that, man. Really think about what what you putting out there, what you putting in these kids' lives, what you ingest them. Like I listen to some of the same music, man. Like, but it's not real. And make sure you educating these kids. Make sure you telling them that nah, this isn't what you really want to be. Like this is the wave, and it's not. People call it corny, whatever you want to call it, lame. Like all of that. I'm one of the last persons one of the last people you want to run up on. I can tell you that.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, but I'm not about to be acting tough or trying to prove my toughness. What's real is getting your mama out the hood, man, and keeping her out of it. You feel me?
Being a role model for your kids.
And being a role model for your kids.
Yeah.
My kids will never have to think about anything like that or worry about the things that I worry about as a child. Because of the mindset. So change your mind, man. Make sure you're thinking about the right things and you're being positive and you're encouraging, because all that other stuff is bullshit. It's really over nothing, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I'm 45. It took me 42 years of my life to get to where I'm at right now. And that's why I'm proud of you, because it didn't take you that. And that's what this whole thing is. This Holla at the Homie is, I want for folks to know that we ain't got to be that way. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I know you got things to do, man. I really appreciate your time, man. If you know anybody else that don't mind giving me some of their time, I'd appreciate you sending them too. But even if you don't, this was a very big, this was something that really means something to me, man. So I can't thank you enough. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I will hit you in your email to figure out how I'm gonna get my hands on some of these cookies. I mean that.
Just send me your address, man. I got you.
Oh man, you are the shit. Hey, you have a great one, Jeff. You are the only person I know that got a Super Bowl ring. You have a good evening, man. I love you like a fat kid love them cookies you gonna send.
Yeah, Smoke, I appreciate you, man. Now you stay safe out here.
I will, brother. You take care.
Yes, sir.